Hey guys, let's bring it in here real quick. My name is Jonathan Ray. Everybody calls me J Ray. I've been playing for Dynamic Disc for 8 years now, I believe. Touring the country in RV for 6, and I have a Masters Distance World Championship title. I've won I think 6 or 7, 8 years of my career. Don't have the 1025 rating that guys like Sexton and some of those guys that have been out here lately have, but I've been doing this a long time, and one of my biggest assets is distance, obviously. So I want to talk to you guys a little bit about that. Everyone thinks distance is about, number one, everybody wants to have distance. They think that's the key to being a great golfer. It's not. If that were true, I'd be a world champion. Distance is great as long as you can control it. My first year playing Masters, I was on the first card in Kansas City with Barry Schultz, Johnny McRae, and Jonathan Baldwin. 2 previous world champions and another 10,015 rated guy. After the round was over, they all beat me by either 3 or 4. And after the round, each one came over to me individually and said, "You should be destroying us." The problem is, you're too aggressive with your distance when you can throw fairway drivers further than we can throw our drivers. And I can control that. I can throw it straight line. So distance is great. Knowing when and how to use it, when to be aggressive, when not, is a whole other thing. But I'm going to teach you how to get a little bit more distance today. Everybody thinks that distance comes from arm speed, how quickly you're moving your arm. It doesn't. It has nothing to do with that. It's all about your hips, your core muscles. If you've ever kicked a soccer ball or swung a baseball bat, it's quick twitch in your hips and your core muscles. Learning how to use your leverage, so when you're coming into your X step and you're planting, your hips are already loaded into a position to fire. It's that quick twitch motion. Your arm is literally just the lever that's following through, but you're driving those hips through and creating power. When you get to a place where you want to throw a distance shot, you're trying to keep your feet, your hips, and your shoulders all in line. So you're coming through on your shot, and everything's still lined up. Knees, hips, shoulders, loaded up, and continuing the same motion at the same time. What I like to do is envision like a brick wall. Your plant foot is your most important aspect of throwing for power. So when you come in and you hit that plant foot, imagine there's a wall right here. So everything's loaded up back here, and you're trying to drive into that, but you can't go past this wall. Everything has to stay balanced in behind it. The moment that you follow through or take that step through, you're giving away momentum and power that you've built up. You want everything to get delivered into the disc. As soon as you run past that pivot point, that plant foot, you're not delivering everything into the disc. Your body's now taking that momentum away from the shot. So that's the biggest thing that AMs do to take away from being consistent and throwing for distance. Is they'll come through and they'll do one of these. Well, now your momentum's carrying you through and it's not getting transferred. You have to plant and drive and pop that hip up. Use your hips to drive so that the disc is literally ripping itself out of your hands, and you're staying balanced and keeping your momentum back, so it's all getting transferred into the frisbee. So I'll just do a quick example. See how when I plant, everything stays back? Follow through, balance. Will Schuster has the most beautiful throw in disc golf. Tee to Green, he's probably still one of the best disc golfers in the world. He just can't play. But Will has slow-mo videos that show a perfect example of getting loaded, reaching back, keeping everything on line, and that smooth, balanced follow through to keep everything vertical where it goes into the frisbee. You can practice this. Number one is the X step. When you're working on your X step, how many of you actually use a run up? Anybody just stand still? Okay. Why do you just stand still?
Haven't worked out all my timing yet.
Okay. So the X step is really just an extension of what you're already building with your standstill. So the X step is literally just practicing this motion, coming across. And it's, if you ever played basketball or soccer, or really any other athletic sport, where they had you do that run and place thing and then jump and turn to the side to find your athletic stance, like that's where you're most comfortable as an athlete because your body naturally goes there. That's where you want to be delivering the frisbee. Like when you get in your X step, you want to be in that stance so that your body is loaded and ready for bear. Where a lot of people get too long, get too short. It's got to be smooth and fluid. You're trying to keep everything in line. What else? The other thing we'll talk about, everybody knows Anheuser, Heiser, flat, which is stable. That's a misconception. Everybody thinks stable means it's going to the left. It doesn't. Stable means straight. When you're working on those shots, obviously big distance throwers, Drew Gibson, Simon Eagle, they're all using ridiculously overstable discs and ripping them over the top on an Anheuser because they have the power to make that disc hold that line. And then when it comes out, it hits like a second gear and takes off again. When they're throwing that, watch them. When you're releasing the disc, whatever angle you want, you're still wanting to come through here. Obviously, if you're throwing Anheuser, you're leaning back a little bit. Throwing a Heiser, you're leaning forward a little bit. But your shoulders, hips, and knees are all still square. The biggest key with that is following through on the same angle that you're wanting the disc to release on. So if you're throwing a Heiser, you're coming on this line, your follow through needs to be here. If you're throwing an Anheuser, you're leaning back a little bit, you're releasing this line, your follow through needs to be here. Because the disc is ripping itself out at your furthest extension point. And everything stays on line. A lot of times when people are trying to throw an Anheuser, they'll go like this, and they'll get flat and release straight out. Instead of continuation, finishing the shot where the disc is still spinning. For distance, the disc stays in the air as long as it's spinning. When the spin starts coming off, that's when it goes to the ground. But it's just working on that same Anheuser you're wanting to finish over the top. Heiser, you're finishing up high. And a flat shot, you're just throwing flat. Anybody have any questions?
What does Heiser and Anheuser mean? Left and right, basically?
Yes. Yeah. So, obviously this is from a backhand, right-hand perspective. But Heiser is the angle of the disc if you're wanting the disc to work from right to left. Anheuser is the opposite of that.
Okay.
So if you're wanting the disc to work from left to right. Same thing if you're lefty, Anheuser is right to left, Heiser is left to right.
I think it's like the outside edge of the disc,
Yeah.
down, flat,
Yeah.
up.
Gotcha.
The key with all of that is even when you're changing the angle of your disc to create shot flight, is keeping the nose down. One of the things that doesn't make sense on the front end is when you're trying to throw to keep the nose down, people think that you should be coming like this. Where when you're coming down, the nose is coming down like this. But in actuality, it's the opposite of that. You should be coming down like this because your wrist is spinning. So think about the back edge of the disc. By the time you get through, that's down. If you're coming from here, by the time you get through, the nose is up, which is what makes the disc lift and stall out. So focus on keeping that back edge of your disc down, because by the time you release, your wrist rotation is actually keeping the nose of the disc down. Any other questions?
Is there a certain grip that helps with keeping the nose down, or is it just...
I'm broken when it comes to grip. I'm probably the only person in the world that throws a fan grip for everything. Most people throw a power grip, typical 3-finger, 4-finger stack. I'm weird. When I started playing, I was making things flip that shouldn't flip and had too much torque, and it was hurting my lower back. So I'd always throw my putters and mid-ranges with a fan grip, kind of like that. Now I throw everything like that. Where I'm getting all my grip out of basically those 2 fingers. But I can still go up 550 feet, so it doesn't matter that much, right? But no, like Drew Gibson makes fun of me all the time. He's like, if you power grip, you throw 650 feet. And it's like, for what? What do I need that for? I'm too old to hurt myself. But no, there's not a grip that's perfect. Most people would teach you this, and you probably should learn a power grip, because that's the most universal grip. It gives you the most immediate feedback. But yeah, I mean, whether
You know, like angle your wrist down or
yeah, no, it's really just trying to make sure that your wrist angle coming through, like this is locked. So when you're reaching back and coming through, nothing's moving left or right through here. You want the disc to stay as stationary as possible, so that when you're coming through in that last second snap is what gets the disc out, nose down, and spinning hard. If you've got a lot of this, it's going to be really hard to be consistent in delivering the disc. Like this is one of the most overstable discs we make. It's one of those that I can throw like a roller and stuff like this come out, but you can just put it way up. That comes out. But it's just maintaining that wrist angle all the way through your shot, regardless of what the shot is. And yeah. So, anybody else? Questions? All right.
You get less grip lock because you never have your fingers under. It's a source of some grip lock.
It's
Power
yeah.
grip.
I mean, I still get grip lock when grip lock is basically about trying to overthrow a shot. It's getting too aggressive.
Too late.
Yeah.
Too long.
Mm-hmm. The biggest, one of the biggest things people, like I was talking about, power comes from your hips, from your lower body, and your core. Everybody thinks it's their arm. Grip lock is when you're trying to overtake the throw with your arm. That's you trying to muscle it instead of just letting this come out. Smooth is fast and fast is far. The smoother you are, the more clean your release, your takeaway, everything is, the less resistance there is on the disc, which makes the disc spin faster. Longer the disc is spinning, further it goes. You guys want to go throw some shots? See if we can get some one-on-one critiquing. Obviously you don't have to if you don't want to, but while I'm here, I'm pretty good at helping out. So let's go over to the D-pad and we'll throw some discs.